everybody. My name is Hiragi Dion, and welcome to Higurashi. So this is quite a bit older visual novel. From the anime came out. Oh God, a long while ago. I probably watched that when I was in middle school. So it's been probably a good decade since that's been out. I would venture to say, it's been a minute. But it's a psychological horror anime slash visual novel, and the visual novel was I believe the visual novel was the original version of this story. So I decided for Halloween, as you can see my little pumpkin back there, I love Halloween and I love scary stories and I love horror in general, so especially psychological horror. So I decided I was gonna go through and since I've been going on a visual novel binge, I was gonna go through and play through this story, which is it's very unsettling. Like it starts off really cutesy and kind of like a regular backwards town, country town kind of, um, you know main anime male protagonist meets female protagonists and uh, you know you think it's just gonna be this he has lots of friends and they're gonna have these antics, and there's a lot more going on. So, I'm not gonna spoil anything. I remember some of it, but I don't remember all of it. There's a lot I actually don't remember, and a lot I don't know because I only watched the first season. So, this is to get the full experience of the story. So, without further ado, let's get started. And you can hear the when they cry refers to, not only people that are being victims, but like the cicadas, which are very popular and very, very loud, especially in the summer in Japan, especially in the country, which is where they are. So, well, without further ado, let's get started. The world of Higurashi when they cry. The Oni Kakushi arc will be the opening inviting you to this world. Don't play tough. Just please enjoy life in Hinamizawa to the fullest. The difficulty is extremely high, but I hope you will enjoy the reward. By difficulty, they mean there is no difficulty. You literally just play through the game. I don't think there's any choices or anything. So I guess let's go. I don't like that. You can stop that right now. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. Please do not lament. I will forgive you even if the world will not forgive you. So please tell me, what will it take for you to forgive me? Frederica Berncastel. Huh. Oh damn. Still work of fiction. Any resemblance is coincidental. Ooh. 1983. Oh, I don't like any of that. Mm-mm. If I was going to be ripped apart anyways, having my body ripped apart would have been far better. Ouch. I trusted her. Ooh. No, I still trust her. Even in this very moment, I trust her. But I'm starting to realize I only wanted to trust her because I refused to accept the truth. It was as if I was trying to convince myself in such a silly, sobbing voice. After those tears making a mess of my face. The mechanical, repetitious sound finally stilled and everything fell silent. Only the cry of the cicadas remained, annoyingly loud, and yet I felt as if I could still hear her voice. But that's not possible. She is no longer speaking. The only one crying is me. She never cried. Even when she repeated those words over and over, she never expressed any emotion because there were none to show. She had no tears to shed for me. Then I shouldn't need to shed any for her. And why This pain, my eyes getting moist. Why was this happening? I still wanted to believe I hadn't been split apart. That's enough, right? Beside me, an inner voice whispered gently. My spirit had suffered enough. And countless times I'd wavered over whether I should just throw the battered thing away. Except I've stubbornly refused to do that, haven't I? I'd feel better if I just threw it away. Even knowing that I chose to believe, didn't I? Only I can understand that painful struggle and appreciate it. Hey, me. I've tried more than enough. I'll acknowledge that much. So, isn't it alright to just take the easy way out? Besides, I'm not throwing it away. I'm leaving it behind with her. Like flowers by a grave. Now then, calm your nerves. Even though you can't feel your right arm, just lift it up. And with every swing, forget a little more. That kindness made me happy. That sound! I hate that sound. That adorable smile brought me joy. I liked petting your head. Oh, I hate that. I loved how demure you were. Because this will be the last time. Because when I swing this down, I'll forget. This is my first and last bouquet for you. What the fuck? Perhaps I really did love you. Damn. What an intro. Holy shit. Whew. Okay. So, right click opens up the menu. Or we can save. Wow. Whew. That was very unnerving. Whew. Somebody has been apologizing for a while now. I wonder what she's apologizing for. It felt wrong to eavesdrop, so I tried to ignore it. It had been a while since I'd last went to the city. I only returned to attend the funeral of a relative. Even though I'd lived there until last month, I found the bustle of the city to be overwhelming. Those skyscrapers and the multi-lane roads, the melodious cacophony of the crosswalk, even the campaign speeches blaring in front of the station felt nostalgic. The place where I live now isn't nearly as lively. It's only the chirping of locusts and the babbling of brooks, the cry of the Higurashi, the evening cicadas. Rather than making me feel lonely, that quietness had begun to install a sense of serenity. There is nothing where I'm living now. I don't just mean there aren't any burger joints, there aren't even vending machines. No music stores, no restaurants, and no arcades. Even an ice cream parlor would be unlikely. The nearest town had some stuff like that, but it's an hour away by bike. Come to think of it, it wasn't really a big deal. There were music stores and arcades and ice parlors, but it wasn't like I ever hung out at any of them. I had lived in the city for 10 years and never once been to an ice cream parlor. I should have gone at least once. It's only now that I'm starting to regret that a little. Somebody is still apologizing. Who is she apologizing to? She's apologized so much, so just forgive her already. There's no reason anyone should ever need to apologize so much. I started to feel a little annoyed at whoever was refusing to forgive her. No matter how bad the mistake, there's nothing that can't be forgiven. There's no such thing as an irreparable mistake. You just need to be more careful next time. She's still apologizing, even now. Then, has she ever really done something that can't be fixed? I have no idea what she's done, but if it can't be fixed, then that's all the more reason to forgive her. No matter how much she apologizes, nothing will change. But even so, she keeps apologizing in such a heartbreaking voice. Hey you, the one she's apologizing to. Why don't you just go ahead and forgive her? She's apologizing in such a pathetic voice. Keiichi, we're almost there. Wake up. I was finally aroused from my nap by my father's prodding. That's our main protagonist, I believe. Keiichi. It seemed the train had reached its final stop. We spent hours riding everywhere from the bullet train to the local routes. It's hard to believe that the landscape beyond the window and the city I was in a half day ago were in the same country. No, that they were even from the same era. From there, we'd take a car deeper into the mountains. Past where the dense forest encroaching on the mountain road suddenly opened up. That's where I live now, Hinamizawa. Oh, Hinamizawa. Oh. You don't want to go there. You don't want to go there at all. Even though we were approaching summer, the morning air still had a frigid bite. Although in exchange, you could fill your lungs up with crisp, clean air. Flinging open the window, I was greeted with a verdant expanse. Nothing but trees. The neighboring house was far away on the other side, so I was probably the only one enjoying that view and that air. I filled my lungs with another deep breath. Since I started living in Hinamizawa, I learned that even air had its own taste. I quickly finished getting ready for school and headed downstairs for breakfast. My mother was the only one there, and my father was nowhere to be seen. He was probably up working until the early morning. Dad had a rather unconventional job as a painter. Interesting. Such a laid-back profession. Get up when you want, sleep whenever you want, work when you want. I was so jealous of that easygoing lifestyle. I even wrote for school that I wanted to be a painter when I grew up. Dad was ecstatic about that. It was just because it looked easy. I'd never tell him that, though. Mom laid breakfast out on the table. Seaweed, pickled vegetables, raw egg, and grilled salmon. Ugh. That is a very, Japanese breakfast, but I couldn't eat any of that. I don't eat anything raw. I can't do salmon, or most fish in general. And then I hate seaweed. And then pickled things I hate too. So, my mom was such a good cook, it was scary. But that's a good breakfast for, Japanese people. A perfect, immaculate, ideal breakfast. Unlike my dad, who didn't even know the meaning of the word schedule, my mom never squandered any time or effort. She hummed up a little tune as she brought over the miso soup. It seemed like she was in a good mood today. I'm so happy you've been waking up early since we moved here, Keiichi. If I don't wake up early, I won't have time to eat breakfast. I thought I was being cute, responding with a wisecrack after being praised for being good. Full bowl of rice, or will half be enough? Pile it on. First, I savored the steaming hot rice with the seaweed. After that, I covered it with the egg. Between bits of rice, I enjoyed the crunch of the pickles. Ugh. I couldn't eat that at all. Excellent as usual. Watching me clean my plate, Mom gave me a warm smile. I'm so happy you haven't skipped breakfast ever since we moved here, Keiichi. I was not a morning person when we lived in the city. I slept right into the last minute before school and rarely ate breakfast. Boycotting the breakfast Mom made me each morning, that was probably the only way I could protest being forced to attend cram school. I guess that was what you'd call my rebellious phase. I wouldn't so much as look at the breakfast she woke up early every day to make. If I could go back in time, I'd slap myself. Mindful of the time, Mom rushed me along with a wide grin. Isn't it about time to meet up with Reina-chan? Oh, Reina. Oh, Reina. Hurry, hurry. Mom really seemed to enjoy the fact that her son was going to school with a girl. Reina's one of my classmates. She really loves looking after people. She really loves looking after people. Coming to meet me every day without fail. The way I looked at it, a guy my age walking to school with a girl was just lame. But well, keeping a classmate waiting for me every day wouldn't be very considerate. Seriously though, how long does Reina wait here for me every morning? Taking one last gulp of miso soup, I raced for the door. Please thank Reina-chan for the pickles. Come to think of it, those pickles weren't store-bought, were they? If I'd known that, I would have savored them a bit more. Morning. Oh, Reina. Oh, she's cute! Okay, so this is the updated version of the graphic art style. Keiichi-kun. Ohayo. Her cheerful greeting was as fresh as the morning itself. You're always so early. You should try sleeping in sometime. If I sleep in, I'll keep you waiting. She's so conscientious and such a good person. Sure. If that ever happens, I'll just leave you behind. Keiichi-kun, you're so cold. I wait for you all the time. I'll leave you in the dust, without looking back. Aww, why are you so mean? Why? Rina had a slightly troubled look on her face. Toying with her was rather fun because of how quickly her mood changed. I'm kidding, I'd wait for you. Those words, Rina seemed to relax. Her face flushed bright red. Aw, thank you. Aw, I'd wait forever until you came, Rina, no matter how long. Forever? Rina turned bright red, steam rising from her head as her brain short-circuited. She's so cute. Oh my god. But I know things about her. She's especially weak to this sort of talk. It's quite rare to find someone this fun to tease. Have you ever read a romance novel, Reina? Huh? I haven't. Never read any before. From that response, I gathered she was interested in them, but was too embarrassed to actually buy one. I couldn't imagine what would happen if she did read one. She'd probably turn red and pass out. Oh yeah, a message from Mom. She says thanks for the pickles. It was nothing. You're welcome. How were they? Not too salty? They weren't that salty. Actually, they had a pretty light flavor to them. It would have been fine to just be honest and say that they were good, but apparently I couldn't be that forthright. I'd like to ask something before that. Were you the one who pickled them, Reina? Or was it your mom? Huh? Why do you ask? Were they too salty? Her attitude completely changed as she began to panic frantically. Was it you, Reina, or was it your mom? Why are you asking who made them? Why? Depending on who made them, my opinion of them might change drastically. Wow. She counted frantically on her fingers, trying to remember the amount of salt she'd used to pickle them. It wasn't like I was trying to tease her, but I couldn't stop myself. Guys who take pleasure in this kind of thing are probably the worst. Guys like me. Rena nervously opened and closed her mouth over and over, trying to muster a response. It was me. Delicious. Huh? Pretty good, just like the last ones. They went perfectly with the rice. Her face went bright red again. She was completely spacing out. It truly was a lot of fun to tease her. I pray that Reina never gets taken advantage of by some lowlife. Keep at it, Reina. I'll train you until you handle it like the average person. Or so I decided for myself. Let's go. If we keep Mion waiting, we'll never hear the end of it. Seeing as she just kept spacing out otherwise. I called Reina back to reality so we could make our way to school. This strange, easily flustered girl is Reina Ryugu. I've only known her for about a month, but I've come to realize it's not just her name that's strange. Yeah, she's pretty dang strange. But everybody here is strange. Mi-chan, ohayo. Coming up to the next rendezvous point, we saw another person waiting for us. Noticing us, she waved. She's really cool, I like her. Finally, you two are late. Usually you're the one who's late. In sharp contrast to the diligent Reina, this one marched to the beat of her own drum. She's Mion Sonozaki. Oh yeah! Okay. I'm remembering her, yeah. For what it's worth, she's our senior and head of the class. Morning, Reina. It's been a while, Kei-chan. How many years? I was only off 2 days. You don't say. You were so much cuter back then. Mion's gaze started at my chest, then dropped straight forward, focusing on the point between the legs. So she was saying it was my crotch that was cute. Before you ask, just to be clear, I've never actually tried to show it to her. I've grown quite splendidly. You'd be surprised. Not only is he bigger, but he has a little mustache now. God damn it. So engorged with energy every morning is quite a problem, though. I'll introduce you next time, so be sure to greet him properly. Don't say next time. Right now is just fine. How about letting the... God damn it, why are we talking about his... Why? I heard her talk so dirty you could smell it fouling up the morning air before. Mion sure does act like an old man sometimes. Gotcha. Time for the big reveal. Hope you don't regret it. As my hand reached for my flag, Reina began to revel in near panic. That's what I would do too. Hey, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Red and faced and flustered, Reina tried to play dumb, but it was obvious she knew exactly what we were talking about. How was it, seeing the city again? Mion switched gears, dropping the dirty talk and changing the topic to something more befitting than pleasant morning. I only went for a funeral, I didn't have much time. So yeah, did you look for it? That thing I asked for. You're not listening, at all. I just came back from a funeral. I didn't have any time to look around in toy stores. Toy stores and hobby shops are completely different, you know. It's really difficult to get Western stuff around here, after all. Is this about games again, Mi-chan? Mion nodded proudly as Reina giggled. Yep, I wanted K-chan to bring me back a Westport catalog, you see. Westport was short for Western imported games. Using the abbreviation did make it sound pretty geeky. You can just get them to send you one in the mail, can't you? Well, guess I have to now. I'm going to get another game full of hot action. This time I like a game that's easy to understand. Mion is a board and card game enthusiast, and I hear she's collected quite a few different ones. According to Reina, Mion's room has kind of become a museum for domestic and foreign games. There's the kind of game you think I'd understand. Let me play too. Of course! K-chan is up for it. I should warn you though, we're pretty tough. Just what I want. I play all sorts of games. I don't intend to lose. Whoa. Then we'll let you join in the group this time. I guess. Bristling with joy from head to toe, Reina looked back and forth between me and Mion. Mion gave her an affirmative wink, and her expression perked up even further. I thought boys preferred playing outside more, so I figured you wouldn't want to. Reina laughed happily. From such a friendly conversation, you wouldn't think I had moved here less than a month ago. I understood that they did all they could to make a transfer student like me feel at home. I'll have to try harder to fit in, so they won't feel like they have to try to make me feel welcome. Felt like if I acted a bit more open than I usually am, it should probably be about right for this place. My favorite character hasn't even shown up yet. She probably will in about 2 seconds, though. Hinamizawa was a really small village. Not only was there only one school, but there was only one class. That class encompasses all different grades and ages. There are about 30 students at different levels, and they all study in the same class. I'm told that long ago there used to be a bigger school building, and they had actual separate classes. However, it seems something happened that made it become a single class, and now it stayed that way out of tradition. I was shocked at first, but humans adapt pretty quickly. I've already gotten quite used to it. The sound of children playing started right from the morning. With such a lively mood, it felt more like a kindergarten than a proper school. Not that that was a bad thing. Mion, who had been walking in front of us up until then, suddenly let me take the lead. Right in front of the classroom door. So I was meant to slide the door open and enter the room first. Too bad. I wasn't going to fall for that again. To think you'd give up the lead here. You meant for this to be a test of my skills. Mion chuckled with a haughty smirk of her face. What is it, you guys? Step back, Reina. It's dangerous. She's here. Huh? Then Sotoko-chan is... Her name was Satoko Hojo. She was a disrespectful, impudent, bossy kid. The way she talks was annoying, but it would just be immature to get worked up over that. The real problem was this. Quite the obvious trap. A blackboard eraser wedged into the door. I remember this. It's too obvious, Satoko. A haughty laugh came from beyond the door. Excellent, Kei-chan. I guess that means you win this round. No, this is Satoko we're talking about. I doubt this is it. For falling for such intricate traps since the day I transferred, I no longer let my guard down. Satoko liked to combine a variety of traps. Traps that were simply there to bait you into the main ones, traps that relentlessly kept coming at you like a sadistic Rube Goldberg machine. The list goes on. As well as being clever, they almost never misfire. When you least expect it, she strikes. No escape, no time to relax. By the looks of it, this eraser is normal. No rocks or anything in it. Took a pretty heavy hit from a blackboard eraser loaded with rocks on my first day. So then, why don't you just open the door and let it drop? That's what it is. That's what Satoko was after. Making me focus my attention upward, so as I lifted my hand to the door, there were thumbtacks stuck to the sliding door handle with tape, a frightening trap. A potent and terrifying trap, concealed by using the blackboard eraser, an impressive combination, Satoko. But in the end, nothing more than the trivial machinations of a child. Assured of my victory, I threw the door open and stepped into the room. Felt something strange on my ankle. It was similar to the sensation of a jump rope catching on my leg. By the time I realized she had me, hook, line, and sinker, it was already too late. I began to fall into an almost picturesque manner. Kei-chan, watch out! Instinctively reacting to Mion's shrill warning, I twisted my body in midair before I landed on the floor. Ow? An ink stone filled to the brim was placed right where I would have landed. I shuddered to imagine the situation that had I landed square on it. God. My, what do we have here? A fair morning to you, Kei-chan. Keiichi-san. Aren't we a lively one this morning? Still sprawled in an awkward position, I was greeted by a mocking voice. This was a step up from your usual trap, Satoko. I haven't the faintest idea what you mean. You're quite unlucky this morning. You little... Ow. It seemed I'd inadvertently sprained my ankle a little when I landed. Better than landing on that inkstone. She's my favorite. I love her. A small hand gently rubbed my head. Pain, go away. She's so cute. The small, dainty hand continued to gently stroke my head. You didn't sprain your back or anything, did you? If you rub it like this, the pain disappears. I thought about asking how rubbing my head would help my back, but I didn't. It's not so much about what you actually do, it's the thought that counts. Yeah, thanks, Rika-chan. Rika, that's her name. The pain's going away now. Yay, Rika-chan. Ohayo. Ohayo, Reina. A good morning to all. Rika-chan greeted each of us with an adorable little bow. It was infectious. Reina, Mion, and I all bowed back. She's just such a nice kid. Yeah, she's such a good kid. You're such a good kid, Rika-chan. So much better than Satoko. I glared over in her direction. Satoko was whistling while rather deliberately trying to avoid eye contact. I am the very role model of a good girl. A good girl wouldn't set those nasty traps. Nothing but lies and slander. Exactly what proof? Wah! I picked up Satoko by the back of her collar. She looked like a misbehaved cat when I do this, but a cat wouldn't be setting traps. She's much harder to deal with. I'm sorry. Try saying that. If you won't say it, I cocked my index finger on my thumb, letting it tremble as I brought it closer to Satoko's forehead. I'm against violence. You don't even have any proof. Just so you know, my forehead flick really hurts. It can slit plywood right in half. That's a very powerful hit. Eek! Stop! Get away from me, you beast! Don't say that in a way people will misunderstand. A small hand tugged on the back of my shirt. She's been lonely since you were gone for 2 days. Rika-chan really is just so... How could I do anything more after being told that? I gently released my grip on Satoko, who at this point was on the verge of tears. She still had her eyes clamped shut as she braced herself for the forehead flick. Wah! It doesn't bother me. Wah! She's such a child. You mustn't cry, Satoko. Keep on fighting. Yeah. Rika gently petted the head of her prankster friend. You would never guess these two are the same age, right? Because Rika acts more mature than anybody else in the classroom does. And then, but she's like one of the youngest ones. I think Satoko could learn a thing or a million from Rika-chan. Next time, set an even more amazing trap. Wait a minute! As she observed the scene, Reina's expression grew ecstatic as she began to swoon. Oh, Satoko-chan is crying. So cute. You can't take them home. But they're so cute. You can't, no matter how cute they are. But just for a bit, is fine. Reina kept her cutesy face even as outrageous ideas spewed from her mouth. According to Mion, Reina is ridiculously weak to cute things and always tries to take them home. Object or person. Stealing is bad, but accepting people is even worse. Give it up. Then I can just look. Just looking. That should be fine, right? Reina swooned over Satoko's crying form. If a girl ever goes missing in Hinamizawa, I'll be forced to turn Reina into the authorities. Forgive me, Reina. I'll be sure to bring you care packages when they put you away. The teacher is coming. Quickly, clean everything up. Satoko, this inkstone is yours, right? Just from Mion's single statement, the entire mood of the room shifted back to normal. The inkstone was bad, but the thumbtack stuck to the door handle were an even bigger problem. Pulled the tape off carefully to make sure not to skewer myself. Even though Satoko was the one who set it up, everyone had to pick up after her. By the time the teacher entered the room, the bedlam from before had been neatly tied up. Aha, we made it in time. Rise, attention! Mion gave out the morning commands. I don't know why their voices are all the same. It's difficult being the teacher for all these different grades in one classroom. She has to teach something different to each one, but naturally she ends up spending all her time with the younger kids. Reina and Mion, being in the highest grade in the class, end up mostly doing self-study. They even end up helping teach the younger kids, so it seems like they can never get to their own studies. They're actually way behind where my studies have progressed to. As a result, I'm pretty much taking over for the teacher and helping Reina and Mion with their studies. You're a pretty good teacher, Keiichi-kun. Easy to understand. Reina took a breather after finishing highlighting an important section. Teaching is making me lose confidence. Makes me aware of how shallow my understanding of the subject is. They say that to teach someone something, you need to understand it backwards and forwards. While you're teaching us, you're getting in your own practice. In contrast, this person over here is quite laissez-faire about things. For one, isn't she supposed to be in the higher grade than me? Look, Mion, this is for your own good. If you don't take this seriously, there'll be trouble later on. With these marks, it's not like I'm aiming to go to a prestigious school. I'll be fine as long as I can pick up what I need to know for the entrance exams, a little at a time. Her staunch defiance was really something else. This was a different type of relax than somebody who already knew what was going to be on the entrance exams. Mii-chan, Keiichi-kun is doing his best to teach us. We need to try hard too. You're such a good and honest kid, Reina. I'll make sure you guys get accepted into a good school. What? Thank you so much! Especially you, Reina. Private lessons, just the two of us. Private lessons? A puff of smoke shaped like a halo popped out of Reina's head. Exactly what kind of private lessons is she fantasizing about that's making her turn so red? I'd like to hear the play-by-play about that next time. While Mion was flipping through her vocabulary flashcards, she threw out a casual question. So in the city, do you have to study this much? If you don't know at least this much, you can't get into university. So you'd study just to get into a university? Well, yeah, basically. While knowing that this stuff won't ever come in handy in the future. Out here, you can get into university as long as your attendance is good enough. Really? Study equals entrance exams. Having that basic law of the universe so easily overturned sent me into a state of shock. That is right. There aren't really good enough people around here to warrant weeding them out with an exam. If anyone can get into university, then there's no need to be all uptight about this stuff, right? Well, that's true, but you should at least know stuff that's common knowledge. This old geezer thinks that, instead of wasting time studying pointlessly, you should be spending your precious teen years doing more meaningful things. It was too profound of a statement to simply laugh off, but since it was Mion, it probably didn't actually have that deep of a meaning. In place of a chime, the school of the principal waved a handbell drifting through the classroom. Hey Chan, we're done! It's our wonderful lunchtime. In a complete 180 from her unmotivated state, Miona gave the commands that signaled the end of the morning period. Keiichi-kun, let's have lunch. Might have been making a very troubled face. Reina smiled brightly at me. Alright, let's eat. Alright. There seemed to be different cliques even within the class. Most of the group were divided up by gender and age, but our group was different. Our ages were different, we had both boys and girls. But we weren't reserved around each other. This level of openness makes a transfer student like me pretty happy. Reina and Mion pushed their desks together so they were facing each other. At the same time, Satoko and Rika-chan were slowly lugging their desks over as well. I swear, most of this is not like this. It always starts off really happy and giddy, like most animes do, but it gets real dark later, so hopefully we get to another dark spot before I close up today. Keiichi-kun, hurry! Reina waved her chopsticks in an unrefined manner, trying to hurry me along. Unless everyone was together, they wouldn't even open their lunchboxes. Keiichi-san's lunchbox is most assuredly filled with nothing but bread crusts like some sort of destitute plebeian. Why don't you just show it to us? Come on out. Even though Satoko was hurling insults at me, she still wouldn't open the lid to her lunchbox until I was there. Pulled up my lunchbox swiftly and dragged my chair over to join the circle. Hey, sorry to keep you waiting. Well then, Representative Me, please give the signal to start. At first, this was kind of embarrassing, but I got used to it pretty fast. At this point, I probably wouldn't even open my own lunchbox if someone else was too slow. Our ages and genders may have all been different, but we were all friends. Well, most of the genders are the same, except for you, Keiichi. Itadakimasu. The sound of our little 5-part chorus echoed beautifully throughout the classroom. Really, though, I've gotten pretty used to this group made of all girls. Of course, there are other boys in the class, but they were a lot younger, so they were scared to approach me. Well, that's to be expected. Younger boys just see older boys as scary. Compared to that to girls, well, at least these girls aren't picky. We put all the side dishes in the middle where everyone was free to pick at them. I thought girls wouldn't mind sharing a meal with the guys, so I was a bit flustered joining in. However, Mion noticed that and teased me quite a bit. As the fruit of my efforts, I can now reach over and take sides from anybody's lunch. Wow, yeah, that's something in Japan. They will usually have a very small main course and then have just a bunch of little sides, and then they share. My, isn't Sir Keiichi's lunch extravagant today? My, isn't Madame Satoko's lunch extravagant as well? The skewered stuff has a nice look to it, rather trendy. Varying into the fight that Satoko was starting, our chopsticks locked in across counters, stabbing into each other's lunch. My, how delicious! Oh, this taro is good. The stewed stuff is good too, even cold. Just seeing my happy face, Rika-chan's expression broke into a little smile. I saved some from dinner last night. By the way, Satoko and Rika-chan's lunches are always the same. It seems that Rika-chan makes it for both of them every day. Rika-chan made this too? These taste like Mom's whole cooking. I was honestly impressed. The carrot rosettes weren't from a mold, they were done by hand with a knife. That's not easy to do. I guess Rika-chan's just good at this sort of thing. She's really good at sewing, laundry, and stuff like that. Amazing, right? Amazing! Rika is quite exceptional in many ways. Oh ho ho ho. It's nothing for you to boast about. Reina's actually better at cooking than I am. Well, you know. It seemed that the topic of conversation switched to Reina when she wasn't expecting it, making her blush and trip over her words. Reina's lunch really was the star of the table. Not only did it look good, it tasted good. Everything else pulled from Lena's lunchbox, constantly. Everyone liked this one so much before, so I made a lot this time. It's good, I hope? It's got high marks from me. Ah, Mion, you're taking too much. Knocking Mion's chopsticks aside, I reached out, trying to secure my own portion. Satoko and Rika-chan reached over at the same time, and a struggle ensued. Everyone shoveled in a mouthful after mouthful while praising it, and Reina's lunchbox was soon empty. It was kind of bad that no one thought to leave any room for Reina. Reina seemed rather satisfied as she looked on. How did you like it? Isn't Reina-san an extremely good cook, too? Quite different from Keiichi-san. I said that it's nothing for you to boast about. You're not much different from Kei-chan, Satoko. Can you tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower yet? Satoko's face went pale. Hey, even I can tell the difference between broccoli and cauliflower, you know? Of course I can. I really can. It's really hard for her to lie. Keiichi-han, both taste good when they're boiled and topped with mayo, right? Ugh. I can't stand either of them. You shouldn't be picking on her. Mi-chan too. Reina hurriedly tried to follow up, but Mion laughed haughtily as she drew closer to Satoko. Well, just pretend it's a little home ec lesson. Now then, Satoko, what's this? Mia lifted her chopsticks. Between them was a piece of green stuff wrapped in bacon. But that's a spare meal. Mion made eye contact with me, and within 0.3 seconds I had Rika-chan's mouth covered. Holding a piece of bacon wrapped asparagus and giving her two choices. She's pretty terrible. The yellow one is cauliflower. No, wait, the green one is cauliflower. So which, Probably the yellow one is broccoli and the blue one is cauliflower, but the green one is, Do you really know which is which? How about you just give up? I expect no less from the Crest representative, the oldest. The way she drives people into a corner just shows how much experience she has. It's just a hunch, but being brought into the Sonozaki household must be quite the ordeal. I do know, I really do. Then answer the question. I know, I know. Wah! She finally broke down and started crying. When she acts like this, she actually starts to seem her age. Ah, oh, cute. Reina entered a state of euphoria as Satoko bawled her eyes out. Reina was in a state of bliss as she rubbed her cheek against Satoko's head and smothered her. Really a very content face. One that wouldn't care if the world ended right then. It was that kind of smile. Reina, Reina, Mimi is picking on me. Ah, cute, cute. It's okay, Reina Oni-chan will take care of all those bad people who tease my little sister. Whoosh, boof, bam. It was like a flash of lightning. What was that just now? Both of Reina's fists shot out at supersonic speed, striking Mion and me squarely in our faces. Before we knew it, Mion and I were sprawled out spread eagle on the floor, staring up at the ceiling with matching welts on our faces. This is the first time you've gotten one, right? Today, she went easy on us. Easy? You mean there's something harder than this? With that, Mion and I both slumped our backs. Our heads back to the floor in unison. From now on, I'll be careful when I'm within striking distance of Reina. I like the music, it's really good. See, Satoko-chan, I took care of them. Cute. I want to take you home. Making sure Reina couldn't see it, Satoko stuck her tongue out at us. Damn it all, using Reina like a puppet. Rika-chan massaged our bruises without saying a word. That's so funny. No matter what the day had held, the last school bell always came too soon. Our shadows stretched off into the distance. Hey, Kiichi-kun, tomorrow, do you have plans or anything? Huh? It was such a direct question from Reina, I inadvertently blushed. If it was for a date, then wouldn't you do it more subtly? Reina saw me lost for words and realized that I'd misunderstood and turned red as well. Oh, no, I didn't mean it like that, you see. So apparently that wasn't what she meant. But since it's always fun when Reina's in a panic, I went along with it a little. Oh, really? So it wasn't meant that way. Huh? Bringing it up, I slumped my shoulders, feigning objection. Kiichi-kun, why are you so disappointed? Why? Me-chan? Unable to hold it any longer, Mion slapped me on the back. I see, this old geezer never knew you could push your buttons like that. Wahahaha. Huh? What is it? Mion was rolling on the floor, clutching her stomach while Reina flailed around, completely bewildered. I couldn't help but start laughing as well. Feeling just a little bit guilty, I ruffled Reina's hair. Kidding. Sorry, it was a joke. That was my fault. She really is a cute one. Huh? When? A joke? Since when? About halfway through. Halfway? So, Chikichi, that means you weren't acting when you blushed at the start? Huh? That means... It was only a momentary lapse, but there was no way Mion had let such a delicate detail slip by her. Oh, well, you see. Saying anything more was also a bad idea. In my bewildered state, I slipped further into an unfavorable position. After that, Mion continued to tease me about it for a while. So, why were you asking if I'm free tomorrow, Reina? Huh? Oh, what were we talking about? It had been so long that Reina had forgotten. That's how long Mion had teased me. It's just Kei-chan, you probably can't find your way around Hinamizawa by yourself yet, can you? That was true. I hate to say it, but if you blindfolded me and spun me around 3 times like we're playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey, I won't be able to tell up from down here. Yeah, I don't think I know how to get anywhere besides back and forth from school. Yes, so you see, tomorrow, we were thinking that Mi-chan and I could escort you through Hinamizawa and show you around. That would be a godsend. Frankly, I was happy about the offer. You'll come, of course, right? If I'm free. You're being invited by a girl, you know. If I'm free. You're probably free anyways. If I'm free. I was being stubborn so as not to give a clear yes or no. Even though I thought it was a godsend, I'm too much of a scamp to say so up front. Keiichi-kun, you're not free, perhaps? While Mion and I had our rather sour back and forth, Reina peeked over at me hesitantly. Figuring I'd been a bit too rough on her, I just gave in. Sorry, forgive me, I apologize. I'm free. Great. The trepidation disappeared from Reina's face as it blossomed into a smile. Hey now, hey now. Seems like there's quite a difference between how cold you are to me compared to Reina, isn't there? Seems Mion didn't care for how rude I was to her, compared to how quickly I agreed with Reina. But her being annoying and was very interesting. So I pushed Reina forward, speeding up our pace to leave Mion behind. Let's go, Reina. Maybe it should just be the two of us tomorrow. Leave grumpy old Mion behind. Oh, whoa, if Kichi-kun is okay with that, then. I'm the one who came up with the idea to take him around. Don't ignore me, Keiichi Maebara. It'd be great if the two of us could go on a picnic together. Should we bring a basket, Reina? If I were bringing a basket, I'll make all the food, maybe. Don't you dare ignore me too, Reina. I'll tell everyone that you two disappeared into the Hodel district together. Well then, I'm going home right now to start making it. Tomorrow's going to be so fun. Later, Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan, bye! Reina bounced off like she was walking on the moon. After the dust settled, all that was left was me standing next to Mion spread out on the ground. There was a welt on her face. Are you alright? There was over 2 meters between you guys. Since you came, they've become sharper. This old geezer's body can't handle it. Maybe it'd be easier if you stopped saying stuff that makes Reina want to hit you. Or else this will end up being Mion's slapstick comedy hour. If that happened, the results might be fatal. Don't feel bad, Mion. You're probably the only one who can dodge her jabs. It felt like it was her knee, though. Could it have been that we were hanging around with an unrivaled martial arts master? Maybe someday we'll see her debut in an extreme contact sport. Maybe not a sport, but you'll see something. You can't lose to Reina. You need to train up and have a rematch. Kei-chan, you should. This old geezer will root for you. Yen and I reaffirmed our determination to discover a way to counter Reina's infallible technique. You receive new tips. Wear a mixed grade. We don't have a uniform. View all tips. What are these? So, Reina, we're the same age? Yes, that's right. We're the same zodiac animal, too. Hey now. It would be weird if we were the same age, but not the same zodiac animal. That's not true. If your birthday isn't the same, then you can have different animals even if you're the same age. Huh? Oh, I see. Mion, you're pretty smart. What month were you born, by the way, Keiichi-kun? I'm July. Reina smirked and puffed up with pride. Hey now, what's the meaning of this? She's not planning to be all high and mighty if her birthday is a wee bit sooner than mine, is she? Heh, don't even. It's impossible to challenge me by birthday. Wouldn't even mind if you bet $1 per month. Huh? Why? Reina panicked at suddenly being challenged to a wager. Given how panicked she is, I am certain she doesn't have much allowance left this month. It's just sending her into panic about something as simple as a birthday is so fun. I can't help myself. So that means you were born in April, Kei-chan? Right on. Too bad, Reina. I'm already far older than Reina. Oh, I see. Then you're the same age as me-chan. Well, it's just a few months. That cap will open up again soon enough. Mia snickered through her nose. Hey now, that's something to get all high and mighty about. As if I'm one to talk. Now that you mention it, you're in a higher grade, right, Mion? You're into underclassmen. Then I could be an underclassman from now on. Mi-chan, you're not making any sense to me. Just by seeing Reina's blushing face, you could tell she knew exactly what she meant by it, though. Then Satoko and Rika-chan are underclassmen. Their grade is so different they should be in a different school, shouldn't they? Keiichi-kun, your tastes are a bit too young, I think. You're not making any yourself, Reina. I just grab onto her head and scruff it up a bit. Oh, stop it! I worried about it before, yeah. I was wondering why the school has different school years all mixed up. There aren't enough classrooms, can't help it. This building is being rented for the forestry services after all. She says it like that, it makes sense. I've thought our school was strange for a while now. Schoolyard is gravel, there are rooms that aren't for classes, and there's some strange sort of construction machinery parked there. Why is it being borrowed? What happened to the real school? There was one here forever from before the war. It got dilapidated. They closed it down. It probably was a grand old schoolhouse. Well, because of that, the students would have to attend a school in the city. That's pretty far, though, you know? Which school would that be? Did you know that there's a school if you pass by the Okinomiya train station, turned at the hospital, and head towards the pediatrics department? What? So far? I couldn't tell where that was by the location, but I understood it was pretty far from Reina's reaction. Well, that's why. These guys didn't want to commute to Okinomiya, rented out the building from the forestry services, and are attending this pseudo-schoolhouse here. About half the children in Hinamizawa go here. There are quite a lot of kids that come here on bike. Well, since they're attending this real messed up school, it might be pretty hard for them to get into higher education. That's not true, Michan. If you study properly, you can go anywhere you want. Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with Reina on this one. Yeah, that's right. Let's try our best. All of you try your best. This old man will be rooting for you. Not just us, you too. You should be prepared for exams, shouldn't you? Your future is bleak with grades like this. Fine, just fine. If I get stuck, then I'll just mooch off K-chan as he works forever. What do you mean by work forever? What do you mean? Hey, you're too loud. Be quiet during self-study. Teacher yelled at the three of us. It was completely our fault. Satoko saw it and chortled haughtily. I stuck out my tongue at her response. It is just as Mion says, the school has nothing to do with higher education, but it makes up for that by having lots of valuable things other schools don't. We don't have a uniform. So these are just extra little side things. It's only June, but it's already so hot. I could hear the Higurashi outside murmuring, me, and at night there are mosquitoes. Might as well be summer already. My only salvation was the mornings were still cool. Summer, I do declare. Satoko was flapping her skirt languidly. That's pretty unladylike there. Even if she was a little brash, she was still a girl. Keiichi does seem quite cool with just a single button-up shirt. I'm so jealous. From how I see things, the skirt you're wearing looks like it would be much cooler. A girl like you just wouldn't understand, wearing jeans during the season and how steamy the crotch gets. God damn it. It gets steamy. Oh. This girl has gone imagining something indecent. Reina's summer clothes have a nice, refreshing color. I feel cooler just looking at them. Thank you. They do feel pretty cool. I do wish my summer clothes were as breezy as Reina's. But Satoko-chan, your summer clothes are so cute, being a one-piece and all. I'd like to wear your summer clothes. It's actually quite stuffy, you know. I do believe what you're wearing would feel much cooler. But it would be so much more fun with cute clothes, ho. I had a feeling that Reina and Satoko's base values were fundamentally different. Speaking of which, our school doesn't have a uniform. Yeah, it doesn't. As long as they're proper, then regular clothes are fine. There are quite a few students in regular clothes. There were a few wearing uniforms, but they were all the same design and rather plain. What's the uniform they're all wearing? They're all the same. That's the city school's uniform. It's not like there's a rule, but they're all wearing them. Speaking of which, everybody in our group is wearing a different uniform, aren't we? Did you go out of your way to get them from somewhere? Why yes, Mion-san supplied them. Mion-chan's relative runs a second-hand clothing store. They can get school clothes from all over the country for cheap, they say. So you ask those relatives to get a bunch of unique school uniforms then. That, Mion, she probably loves using her friends as dress-up dolls. That must be a strange second-hand clothing store. I get that it's a second-hand clothing store, but stocking clothes from schools all over the country? That's pretty strange for a second-hand clothing store. What's the point in stocking up clothes from faraway schools they know nothing about? Yeah, I think so too. They also have used school swimsuits and PE uniforms. I don't like the idea of having used ones. Doesn't sound like that shop makes much money. They probably have Mion pitch in and help so they can make a bit more. I don't think it's a terrible thing to use used clothing. Like, we have a lot of secondhand clothing shops around here. And as long as as long as they're in good condition and you wash them properly, like, it's, They probably have Mion pitch in and help so they can make a bit more. But Mion said says I would be a big hit and become a great store. With such conviction. Secondhand clothing store that stocks school uniforms will be a big hit. I don't get it. That's pretty funny. Okay. Okay, let's save. I took it a little too easy on the morning of my day off. I was totally late. Today was the day Rain and Mion were going to show me around Hinamizawa. Ooh, casual clothes. Mion and Mion were already waiting at the meeting place. Yeah, Mion is such a tomboy. Reina's clothes are super cute though. They're very, yeah. Kei-chan, you're late. Sorry. The show I was watching last night was really interesting. Blame that. Oh, so that's your excuse for being late, keeping two girls waiting? Mi-chan, you just got here yourself. Last night's episode of A Day in the Life was interesting, wasn't it? She was just as guilty as me. Reina-chan was carrying a pretty heavy-looking bag. What is that? Reina answered my question with a wink. That's right, Reina really did make a picnic. Kei-chan, after you left, Reina pulled out all the stops. It's not like I forced her to do it. It was nothing, so don't worry about it, okay? She's been like this since last night, you know. Can you take responsibility for this? Alright, I am a man after all. I'll take responsibility. Huh? Responsibility? For what? As we both turned around slowly to look at Reina, our gazes drifted downwards to the massive handbag she was carrying. It didn't seem logically feasible that it would be entirely filled with lunchboxes. Except this was Reina we were talking about here. About 2 kilos, I guess? When Reina was picking it up, I could see she was struggling a bit. I say 5. You're exaggerating. Keiichi-kun is a boy after all. I thought you could probably eat a lot, so I made a lot, okay? Let's get going. Heave ho! Just from the way she was lifting it up, I couldn't believe the only thing in there were lunchboxes. Correction, I say 5 kilos too. I'll help out, but all of it needs to be eaten. I won't forgive you if you make Reina sad, got it? The only thing I could do at that moment was exercise a bit to make myself hungrier. It does take quite a bit to, you know, set up everything. So it might be a little bit before we actually get to the next, like, really dark scene. But the fact that they had an intro scene that was like quite disturbing like that was good, because that means it'll get back there eventually. Having finished with the pleasantries, we began our leisurely stroll, a carefree walk bathed in the gentle morning sunlight. I couldn't have even imagined something so wholesome existed during my time in the city. Those were the boonies, after all. These were the boonies, after all. No slovenly desk jockeys trudging to work on the weekends out here. It really was a nice place, peaceful and quiet. Yeah, I like the country more. As sparsely populated as the village was, you could still run into people just by walking around. Good day. Good day. Oh, you would be Meibara-kun, I believe. My 2 companions exchanged greetings with everybody we ran across. All of these passerby even knew my name. When did I become this famous? We passed 3 people in. When all 3 of them knew me, I started to feel a bit paranoid. It's a bit sad to say. Everyone knows everyone since there are so few people here in Hinamizawa. So that means when an unfamiliar face walks by, they automatically assume it's that Meibara fellow who just moved here. Yeah, that's how it works out. It was a process of elimination you can only pull off in a place like this, but it was quite effective. From now on, I'd better make sure to maintain a good reputation. The day I'm discovered accidentally gawking at a dirty magazine in the bookstore, I expect all the villagers label me as a lech by the next day. Hinamizawa is not to be trifled with. That is an understatement. That's not the end of this nightmare. Of course I know them. The first person we met was old man Takazawa from the Maki no Bike shop. His hobbies are bonsai and playing the flute. Next, we met the grocer's second son, Daisuke-kun. His hobby is sharpshooting, and he hopes to be an ace sniper in the future. The person we just met was Miya-san, the nurse from the clinic. Her hobbies are birdwatching and photography. You know the names of everyone we passed by, and even their profiles? Seeing my surprise, Mia and Reina exchanged looks and burst into laughter. Well, yeah. We're not like the city where people hardly know their neighbors. Then let's try it out. You there, who am I? Hahaha, you're Keiichi Maebara. You say some mean things, but you're actually a kind, shy person. It's been 3 weeks since you transferred here. You're obvious taking afternoon naps. Lately, you switched over to wearing boxers, didn't you? That's enough, that's enough. Boxers? Enough of that. Apparently there's absolutely nothing you can keep hidden here. Hinamizawa was not a place to be trifled with. That's funny. How do they know that? This feels more like you guys are already showing me off rather than showing me around. That's right. We're parading around like this after all. Don't you all think so too? That Kei-chan is fitting right in here in Hinamizawa. The population in Hinamizawa is shrinking, so the villagers welcome anybody who's new here. I thought about brushing it off with something to the effect of, "You're kidding me," but I held back. Had I ever greeted someone who just moved into the city like this before? Thinking about that made me believe what they said wasn't a joke after all. We passed another person. Of course, we were called out to again the same way. Oh my, good day. It's wonderful seeing you getting along. This lady here is Fujishima-san. Good day. Oh my, Maebara-kun, how wonderful for you, having a lovely girl on each arm. That's the life, man. How are you? Getting used to life here? Instead of regurgitating a prepared response like I would have in the city, I responded with an emphatic nod. The old woman chuckled, voicing her appreciation of how energetic I was. Good. As I looked back over to Rina and Mail, and they gave me a wink. So now then, about time to have lunch, maybe? Rina's brilliant smile signaled the approach of an event that both Mion and I were trying to forget. We both looked at each other. I'm a man, I'll do what I can, but it's just too much. It's fine, Kei-chan. Leave it to this old man. Mion has never seemed as reliable as she does right now. I'd expect no less from the class representative. Reina, if we're going to eat, we might as well go somewhere with a good view. Oh, yes. Good idea, I agree. Rina nodded her head happily in response to Mion's proposal. Presenting to the top of a stone stairway, a shrine drawn straight out of my imagination appeared before us. And it was worn down a bit over the years, but the fallen leaves had been swept up, giving it a tidy feeling. This here is the Furude Shrine. It's probably the place with the best view around. This place, be sure to remember it. On our next break, a festival will be held here. Isn't it a bit too early in the season for a festival? The Wada Nagashi isn't a summer festival. Long ago, it used to be a celebration at the end of winter. I was embarrassed for assuming that festivals had to be held in the summer. Now then, spread out our lunchboxes, and there! Various colored lunchboxes were placed one after the other on top of the plastic sheet. Sure did smell delicious. It was Reina's home cooking. Went without saying that it would be delicious. But is it even possible to finish all this? Hey Mion, I'll take more than just a good view to get all this down, you know? Oh, it's Rika! Good afternoon. It was Rika-chan and Satoko. Why are they here? Mion grinned over at me. I see, this was her secret plan, to power in numbers. You have my thanks, Mion. Following up when all the pieces are in my place is my specialty. We just had to come since there was such a commotion. What is the meaning of this? Take a look. It's time for lunch, buffet style. A homemade gourmet meal by Reina. I can see that much. Why have you laid out a tarp of our property? This temple is public grounds. It's not yours. Keiichi is right. This is everyone's property. Wow, Rika-chan is such a good girl. Have a seat. Eat with us. After opening up a spot for Rika-chan, I promptly turned my back on Satoko. Hold on 1 second. Where is my spot? No spot for you and nothing to eat. Nothing for you to eat. Don't worry, there's some for you too. None. I'll eat all of hers. I will not allow that. Rika! Here, chopsticks. Both Satoko and I leapt at the boxes, having it out with each other. Man, really, Kei-chan, you're really good at leading people on. You might have a talent for this. Have a plate, one for Mi-chan and Rika-chan too. Reina whipped out pairs of chopsticks and paper plates. we don't hurry, it'll all be eaten up. That's right. Okay. Shall we commence this battle? Please eat a lot. There's enough for everyone, Reina said as she opened up a thermos. Just then I realized that this lunch was made under the assumption that 5 people would be eating. Didn't change how much there was, but the implication behind it was different. I will not allow you to have this hamburger. Using your elbows against the rules, Satoko. Grabbing the back of my collar is also against the rules. It was a tough battle, blocking with her full momentum and an elbow in the opening moves. Satoko appeared to have the upper hand, but the difference in our proficiency with chopsticks proved to be fatal and gave me the upper hand. Ah, the last meatball! Satoko Hojo has been bested. Nom. Satoko and I amiably began choking at the same time, falling backwards and spasming. Rika-chan patted me on the head to clear it, even though it was actually stuck in my throat. Seeing that made Reina-chan blush and breathe heavily in excitement. It was almost like flowers were floating all around her. Mion advised Reina to refrain from saying anything that could get her locked up. This is how our meals usually go. I'd do anything in my power, just so things could stay like this. Unfortunately, that's not going to be possible, Keiichi. The intense battle calmed, and finally everyone reached a point where they could begin talking. Receiving tea from the thermos, I let out a small sigh. I do wonder why there are so few words in Japanese to praise how something tastes. Isn't it because the idea of togetherness during a meal didn't begin until the modern era? Seems that long ago people ate in silence. It must have been the people preparing the food a bit sad, don't you think? I always eat by myself, so it's probably because back then the people were busy even while eating and didn't have the time to compliment the flavor. That's just you. But you know, just hearing that it's good makes me happy. That my effort was worth it, I mean. She blushed a little as she said that. It was delicious. With absolute perfect timing, Rika-chan struck Reina-chan with praise. She looked straight at her with an expression of bewitching innocence. After Reina uttered an unintelligible noise, a ring of smoke arose from her head with an audible poof. Rika-chan, I'm going to take you home. No, I mean, thank you. It was really delicious. Reina blushed red with excitement, embracing Rika-chan and rubbing her cheek against her so hard you can almost hear it. To reward Rika-chan for her praise, ta-da! These are special. 2 apple rabbits. After sticking toothpicks into them, she thrust them toward Rika-chan. After Rika-chan accepted them, the mood suddenly shifted in a bizarre way. What is it, Satoko? What's with that defiant look? Has everyone prepared proper praise to receive apples from Reina-san? Don't push yourself. What kind of praise can you think of with your weak vocab? Ho ho ho. Well then, allow me to show you. Just Satoko flashed me out on me a defiant look. She changed the tone of her voice suddenly. Hey, so Rina-ne-chan's lunch. Satoko thought it was yummy too. Satoko looked up at her proudly while talking cutesy. Wow, how was that praise? That's not even persuasion by tears, that's persuasion by cuteness, isn't it? This is a Reina limited special skill. She blushed and her head spun, waving around in circles. Don't fall for it, Reina. Wow. Of course I was asking for the impossible. Reina glomped Satoko and began rubbing her cheek against her. Cute! Satoko is so cute! Take you home, how? Swish, stab, push. Satoko was also presented with apple rabbits. After stuffing them in her mouth, she looked over at Mion and me again with that defiant gaze. It took only 5 seconds to take down Reina. That's unfair, to think she had such a trick. If it upsets you so much, why not reward Reina-san with some praise? Damn it. That was such a dirty trick. First of all, that wasn't even praise. Satoko, you think you've won with that, don't you? How about I show you something much better than these superficial gimmicks? That sounds great, Mion. What kind of trick is it? Kei-chan is going to be the one who does it. What? Ho ho ho, why don't I have you show me then? The writhing of an old maid. The plan of attack she suggested was wicked, but it was the only thing that we had to beat Satoko. Receiving my tea, I started talking very naturally and calmly. Perfectly. It really is good, isn't it? It's all freshly made, right? No, actually most of it, almost all of it was frozen stuff. Then which ones did you make fresh? Well, It's embarrassing. Do I really have to say it? Must I? With the synergy of of boy plus handmade lunchbox, her expression had melted into euphoria. I already know. This one, right? Marina had turned an even deeper shade of red. The words "I can't believe it" practically written on her face. How can you tell? How that I made it? Of course, Mian had told me beforehand. It's been perfect so far. After acting like I was shy, I waited a beat. Next would be the finisher. It had your smell. Since silence enveloped the area, Reina, face still completely red, froze solid. Small yelps Satoko almost blushed. Of course I did too. I sure would like to try one of Reina's homemade apple rabbits, or something. Even if this was all because I was competing against Satoko, I felt like I had crossed the line by a good 9 yards, I think. Then at that moment, whoosh! There was a Tupperware container filled with rabbits. Please eat some, Keiichi-kun. Then there's plenty for you. Instantly, just as the apples were shoved into my mouth, knocking me over. Okay, say, Keiichi-kun. My hand was personally laid upon her lap, and even more apples were shoved into my mouth. While she was squealing, one after another was forced into my mouth. More and more apples. How about them apples? Satoko, looks like we win. Keichin, that was a beautiful sacrifice. How's that, Satoko? It's a complete victory, isn't it? I can't believe it. Such trickery. It doesn't bother me at all. Satoko ground her teeth, mortified. We did it. I claimed victory as my consciousness drifted slowly away from me. At that time, Rina stopped her squealing and she suddenly realized something. Rika-chan, you're not eating it? Did the salt water make it too strong, maybe? Maybe? Looking over, Rika-chan had pulled the poof pick out of the apple rabbit, placed it into her cupped hands and seemed to be at a loss for what to do. Poor Mr. Rabbit. I feel sorry for him. I want to save him. Please. That was the sound of blood spurting from Reina's nose. Cute! Tonight I will take you home. She shook erratically, her head wobbling back and forth. Then, coming back to her senses, she took all of the apples around me, gathered them up with a whip, and placed them back up onto the plate. Now they're all just fine, Kay. Here, I'll give them to you, Rika-chan. Kay? Rika-chan raised up Satoko's hand like a referee after having the plate of rabbits shoved to her. She whispered, "This is our victory." What? A comeback? I just don't care anymore. Thus my sacrifice ended up being in vain. That's funny. This is not... It's getting to the spooky part, I promise you. A lot of it is just their endless ramblings. But it's the contrast. What makes it so intense or like just sticks out so much is because you have all of this intro stuff. You have the stuff that's like all happy and just, you know, happy-go-lucky and just everyone's just content and just, you know, everyday friends having jokes and making jokes and having fun. And then like it just hits this moment of bam, everything is messed up. And that contrast between one, you know, those moments and these tense, like, dark moments are, like, so uniquely, like, different that it just, the contrast is just, you can't even, deny how big the gap between them is. Like, it's just crazy how different. It was a fun-filled, crazy day. But as soon as the sun began to set, the end of the day really did come quickly. Later, Reina and Kei-chan. See you tomorrow. Thanks for today, Mion. I had a great time. See you tomorrow. Satoko and Rika-chan went home as well. We parted ways with Mion, and it ended up with just Reina and myself enjoying the evening air on our way home. Thanks for coming today, Keiichi-kun. Was it fun? Yeah, lots of fun. Almost feels like a waste to go home now. Then, well, would you mind taking a little detour, maybe? A detour? Is it far? It's a bit of a walk, but it won't take long. Since we had walked around all day, I must have seemed a bit tired. Not feeling like teasing Reina, I quietly nodded. Oh, I think this might be the moment I'm thinking of? But not sure. Oh, it's the garbage dump. Yep. Traversing a small path and up a small hill, the land suddenly stretched out before us. There, what looked like the remains of a dilapidated... Man, I cannot pronounce this word. The dilapidated construction site came into view. A large heap of garbage spread out off towards the swamp. Probably illegal dumping. I recalled it being in the newspaper. Foo, it's been a while. I wonder what's here. I wonder what's here. When you say it's been a while, you mean the business you had here was with this garbage pile? It's not garbage. To me, it's a pile of treasure. Maya had already entered the well-known cute mode of hers. So that meant there was something cute here? Whoa, a new pile. I can't wait, I can't wait. She bounded up the unstable slope. I expect no less from a born and bred country girl. Hey, wait, I'm coming. Whoa. My city-raised self was completely pitiful. It's alright, just stay right there, Keiichi-kun. It won't take long. Rina kindly declined my accompaniment. Don't fall. Watch your step. I'm fine, I'm fine. This is nothing at all. Literally bounding up from the heap of trash, Reina disappeared over the other side. I didn't like being left behind, but I was still pretty tired from the whole day, so I just ended up waiting. Without the lively Reina around, the surrounding area quickly fell into silence. The cry of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. Fairly exhausted, I began to feel a little sleepy. Just then, the sudden noise of scattering pebbles alerted me to somebody's presence. Startled, I turned around. Oh, I wasn't expecting you. Saying there was a typical-looking photographer, he spied out over at me through this camera. And I don't remember you having such big muscles, damn! His body was tanned and fit, but something about him seemed unreliable, that he had a bit of aloof air around him. Well, it didn't seem like he was a bad guy in any case. Whoa, you surprised me. Although startled when I turned around, he overplayed his reaction. That was my line. I'm the one who's surprised here. My bad. I didn't mean to startle you. Are you from Hinamizawa? I gathered that he wasn't from that question. Unfazed by my suspicious outlook, he introduced himself without my prompting. I'm Tomitake, freelance photographer. I come to Hinamizawa from time to time. I didn't ask you who you were. Quite rude to photograph someone without consent, one would think. My bad. I mainly photograph wild birds. They can't refuse, you see. So what, you're saying I'm the same as the birds? No, well, you see, that image of a young man in the twilight was just picturesque. I apologize for trying to take your picture without asking. Adults are pretty slick. All that annoyance I felt for being startled just flew away as he buttered me up. I had no intention of hanging around with this guy trying to get cozy with me, except it didn't seem like Reina would be back soon. But this older guy, Tomitake-san, he didn't mind my conscious responses and continued rambling on by himself. Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm finished now. Reina popped her head out from one of the lower piles of garbage and waved her hand. You have someone with you? What would she be doing over there? That's what I wanted to know. Dunno, maybe she's checking out the dismembered corpse that was out here long ago. Tomitake-san looked shaken up by that for a moment. Uh-oh, I responded like if I was talking to Reina and the others. It was quite a disturbing incident. I still haven't found one of the arms. Haha, Keiichi-kun, sorry to keep you. You were waiting a while, I guess. I had best to leave you two lovebirds alone. Again, my apologies for startling you, Keiichi-kun. Tomitake-san chortled suggestively, then disappeared into the twilight. Missing my chance to retort put me off a bit. Keiichi-kun, are you angry? Why, I wonder. It wasn't Reina's fault, so I decided to just brush it off for now. How was it? Find a treasure trove? Oh yes, so listen, you see, there was a Colonel Sanders doll. A Colonel Sanders doll? Oh, that thing, those statues they always have out in front of that fried chicken place, that life-size dummy? Yes, Colonel Sanders. How cute, I want to take it home. I couldn't tell how she decides what's cute or not, but well, she seems to want it. It's garbage, right? No one would care if you just take it home, right? It's become the base of another pile. I can't dig it out easily. There's no lampposts over there, so it'll get dark pretty soon. Reina seemed quite down about finding a treasure and not being able to bring it back. I'll help you out to repay you for that delicious picnic you prepared today. Oh, thank you. Birds heading home to roost proclaimed that nightfall would soon be upon us. Keiichi-kun is going to help. I can take Colonel Sanders home. Oh. Rita staggered along as if intoxicated in her dreamy state of mind. I tried asking her in a way that wouldn't take her out of her cheery state. Hey, Rita. Long ago, did something happen here? Seems like they were building a dam here. I don't know the details, though. Oh. Just wondering if you knew about, an accident or something. I don't know. Her tone was disturbingly frank. It sounded more like a denial than an answer. I must have appeared rather dumbstruck. Rena quickly lightened her expression. Actually, I didn't live here until a year ago. Huh? You transferred here too? I was sure of it. So you see, I don't really know much from before that. Sorry. Don't really know, don't want to talk about it. That was the kind of feel she gave me. Thinking about it, of course it would be like that. This wasn't the type of things girl would enjoy talking about. It was quite a disturbing incident. It seems like they haven't been able to find one of the arms. If it's just like Tomitake said, then I have a feeling only the Higurashi would know. That's like the first dark thing that happens is right there. And it's just in passing. Like he just happens to just mention it. The Maibara Manor. So Kei-chan, you're not stinking rich? What's this all of a sudden? Did I come to a school in a limo before? How much do you get for a monthly allowance? About $10. My, that's a rather plebeian amount. His lunch is made up of normal stuff. He isn't rich. What are they talking about? To be asked out of nowhere how much I get and then that's told a plebeian amount? Sorry. Maybe I seemed to pick up on my dubious expression and started giggling. Kei-chan, your house, it's pretty big, yeah? So your architecture has people around thinking Hinamizawa calling it the Maibara Manor, and it sort of stands out. Maibara Manor? Since the house is so big, everybody is gossiping, wondering exactly how rich you were. I see. Now I get it. Well, the frame of it is huge. I see how it could cause some misunderstandings. From my deduction, I wager they spent too much money on building the house, and that's why they are now broke. Being broke, how very, very unfortunate. Rika-chan took pity on me as she patted my head. I go from being treated like a millionaire to a beggar. Yeah, sorry for ruining your imagination, but we aren't millionaires or poor. We're the average of a normal, average household. You can't call it normal with that huge house. The entranceway is all grand and the gate is large enough for a large truck to get through. That's not normal at all. They do say the bigger your house, the more prosperous you are. The reason the house is so big is because Dad's studio is in it too. There are a bunch of different workshops and lots of his works are hung up in different places. All of them are huge too. For those reasons, the family actually uses only a third of the house for day-to-day living. He planned it out so people in cars could come in to see the gallery he opens up in the house someday. By the way, the entranceway Mion is talking about is the one for the studio and is normally sealed off. The entrance to the Maibara family actually uses a very plain and simple one. The interior is much different from how it looks on the outside. I'd really like a chance to explore Kei-chan's house. Claiming not to be rich but having a home like that? What could be hidden there? Maybe there's something cute hidden? Ho! They probably had no money to purchase furniture, so it's filled with Spartan rooms. There are carpeted rooms. I would love to try rolling around on the floor. Wow, that'd be great! So great! I want to roll around too! Seems like their imaginations were just piling on. Well, sometime in the near future, it wouldn't be too bad to invite them all to my house. Dad is a sucker for the ladies, so he might even let them look around his studio. The cry of the Higurashi crescendoed as the sky towered over everything. It was hot, but the air was clear. It smelled like the beginning of summer. That's funny. This one's gonna be a little darker. From the June somethings, 1979 edition. The Shishibone City Okonomiya police station, late at night. Suspects were arrested on suspicion of murder and improper disposal of a corpse. The main offender has been added to the wanted list nationwide. According to our sources, the 6 suspects were at Hinamizawa Dam construction site workroom at 9 p.m., where they were suspected to have assaulted and murdered the site overseer as a group, dismembering his body and hiding it. At 8 o'clock in the morning, a report was filled by the Shishibone City Hospital in which a male suspect alluded to having murdered Mr. When questioned at the police station, the individual confessed to the crime. Since a portion of the body was recovered at the location he gave, he was arrested that afternoon on suspicion of murder and mutilation of a corpse. The rest of the suspects were arrested the same day, but the main culprit is still at large. Police are currently on his trail. The motive is purported to be a drunken verbal dispute during which he killed the victim in a fit of anger. However, as there are multiple inconsistencies with their testimonies, the investigation is still ongoing. Interesting. That's like the first sign of like something super like off-settling, except for that first scene. That first scene is very, very disturbing. Like, I was like shaking, like, what the hell? Like, it was very offsetting. And then that first time he mentions like a mutilating body is like, and he just says it in passing, like, it's just like, oh, you know, but he's a freelance photographer, so it's like, you could see, you know, I think he's actually an investigator of sorts, and he's trying to, like, if I remember correctly, but, I'm not gonna make any, assumptions, or, like, try to, you know, steer your thoughts one way or the other, but, yeah, it's like the first time something offsetting kind of happens in the narrative, and it just kind of throws you off, like, okay, something seems a little weird here. And the fact that Reina just kind of, like, instantly denies it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and she's so happy-go-lucky and would be like, what do you mean? Like, normally. But then now she's just, like, instant denial. Like, it just kind of throws you off a little bit. It's like, something don't seem right here. But, so we got to a little bit of an unsettling scene, so I hope that's enough of a spook for this week. And then, it's gonna get spooky. Like, after this, it starts getting real spooky. And just, the things that happen are just, like, unsettling. Like, completely unsettling. But it takes a while of an intro, but it really does pan out in the end, because everything just seems so nice and happy-go-lucky, and then it just takes a dark turn, like, real quick. Well, not really, really quick, but, like, after the whole intro sequence has gone through, it just takes a real big turn. And it's kind of like Whiplash, honestly. It's like, whew, how did this happen? Like, we were just talking and having, you know, lunch boxes and pulling pranks and talking about, you know, I don't know, everyday school stuff, and then, bam! Dead body. Like, what the hell? Anyways, I'm gonna leave it there for now, and then I'm gonna come back and do another one next week, and I'm gonna keep doing this one, at least through October, and then I might take a break to finish the other game I'm working on, but, I'm at least gonna play this through October just because I like, you know, playing and looking at a spooky story during Halloween time. It's just fun to me. So, thanks everybody so much for watching, and I will post a new video of this next week. Bye!